computer. I know I can find it that way. All right, welcome everyone to our Saturday morning Team Truora retreat / Zoom call. So I appreciate everybody for rolling with all of the changes that we've made. I'm disappointed we're not getting to meet in person like we originally planned. And honestly, I waited till this week to even plan the content because I wanted it to be something that is relevant to today and how you can work your business today. So I have several guests on today, and I'm just going to introduce all of our speakers real quick. First, we've got Megan Spaniel, who's going to be our first speaker, and I've known her several years. She's always one step ahead of me in the social media department, so I appreciate her knowledge and her expertise. And we're going to have Betty Steward speak, and she's my mama in the business and has taught me most everything I know and has just guided me through over 20 years in this direct sales business. So I appreciate her. And we've got Betty Hughes, who's going to give everybody a welcome here in just a minute. And we just appreciate her so much for just always being the trailblazer and always being faithful and loyal. And of course, we have Phillip, who's our guest speaker today. And he's brand new with Truora, and he's got a lot of energy and a lot of great ideas. I love hearing people share their ideas from a different perspective. I think sometimes I tend to sound stale even to myself because you know, we're not hearing y'all get to hear from me so much. So I'm going to sit back. I'm only going to share one thing today, and I'm going to let these guys do the rest of the speaking. So Miss Betty Hughes, I'm going to unmute you, and I'm going to give you an opportunity here to just welcome everybody. Okay, you're unmuted. I did it for you. Can you hear me, Miss Betty? All right, well, I'll come back to her. Okay, let me go ahead and get started with our first speaker today, who is going to be Megan. And do you need to share your screen? Do I need to make you a hostess real quick, or?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, then go ahead. Thank you.
If I share my screen, I'll probably take longer than needed. So, well, anyways, I wanted to share a few tips on, and I do want to apologize real quick for my kids, the noise in the background, if you can hear it. But so I was just going to talk about content, scheduling your posts on social media, and then how to invite people, or like, I guess the right way to invite people to parties. So content is important. Mike Land has a lot of stuff that she shares, and it's really good. And then also Truora has a bunch of resources we can use, and they're all really good. But a good thing to do with those is to, I know Mike Land will say, you know, put your logo on it. It's really good to brand yourself. Truora, it has their brand, obviously, but for you, you know, I put mine as living clean by Megan or something, or with Megan or something like that. I just put that on all of my graphics, and I also make my own graphics because engagement in your groups and your VIP groups is very important. Obviously, product knowledge is always good, but you know, sometimes people like to, you know, talk about things other than the products and the sales. You know, just a fun game or something. I've seen Mike Lynn do them too. She does those a lot. But just, you know, what did you have for breakfast today? Or, you know, what's for lunch? Or, you know, how are you doing during quarantine? Or, you know, just down to earth stuff to, you know, let them know that you do care, instead of, you know, hey, here's the special this month, or did you see our new, you know, mascara, or, you know, because it builds a trust, and it also gives you a chance to get to know them, and it gets your engagement going in your group, which, you know, also helps everything too. So it's really good to create those types of graphics along with your sales graphics, or, you know, promoting your products. And it's always good to mark your own graphics, because if Facebook sees that you are using, like if a graphic is used over and over and over again, they can mark it as spam, and you can end up in what they call Facebook jail. And I have been there plenty of times, and it's not fun. It's very because you won't be able to post, and comments and things like that. Anyways, does anybody have any questions about that before I move on? Nope. All right. Well, the next thing that can help you guys, will help all of us, is to schedule your posts. Facebook has the tool now, and it's free. I used to use SendShare, but I don't use that anymore because Facebook does all of that, and it really saves me time when I can, jump in bed, at the time I jump in bed and sit on my phone for about, however long. We all do it. I'm sure we all jump in the bed and get on our phone before we go to sleep. And so what I do is I'll schedule 3 or 4 posts for the next day in my group, and, it doesn't take much time. And then that way, you don't forget to get on the next day and schedule. Life happens. You might get busy and you might forget to post, or, and it shows it's consistent. It gives you more consistency. And we all know that that's key in this business, is to be consistent. So to keep that consistency, scheduling your posts, helps a lot. If anybody needs help learning how to do that, let me know and I can help you. So there's that. And then also another thing I wanted to touch on that people, kind of, I hate to say they fail at. It's not a fail thing, but when you're doing a party and you're inviting people, when I just invite people to my parties, it's people that it's like my mom, my grandma, my best friend. I never just randomly invite people, even if I know that they love Chihuahua or they're a client of mine, they order, frequently. I don't just invite them. I'll post something on my page and say, I'm having a party if anybody's interested, or, who loves makeup, or, who needs help with their skincare regimen, something like that, to where people will comment and they'll say, oh, me, and that gives you an opening to, inbox them or anything, or even just, at that point, they're giving you access to them, so message them and say, hey, I'm so glad that you reached out. I've got this party going on. I think you would love it. And then send them the link that way. Some people, whenever you invite them, they might just scroll past the notification and never see it, and they'll never say going, or they'll never join the group. And then, they might have been interested, but they got so many other notifications, they might have just overlooked it and, went on and missed out on that. So it's always better to communicate with people instead of just randomly inviting a whole bunch of people. And then you also want people that are genuinely interested anyways. You never want somebody just in there because, just to be in there. You want to be talking to people that want to hear what you have to say and are interested in what you're talking about. Another thing I wanted to touch on, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it, is there's groups on Facebook. They're called direct sales groups. Now, you got to be careful in these groups because there are people that try to make money off of, having you come into their vendor events and stuff. And I'm not saying, there's different things in there that people try to get you to pay for. What I'm talking about doing is getting in there and actually trying to, and not even necessarily just advertising for Chihuahua, just, there's people that post in there and they'll say, I'm looking for a new opportunity, and that's a good, now, there'll be 500 comments on there. I don't comment on those because they've obviously are probably, worn out with all the comments. But if you can catch those posts, and be one of the first people to comment, sometimes I've gotten a recruit from that before. But it's hard to catch them when they first post them. So, but anyways, just posting about the business, and then also engaging with people, just like how I was talking about in your VIP groups. just asking, how people are doing and just genuinely trying to create conversation. There's people all over the place in those groups. And just like I talked about on a Motivation Monday, I think two or 3 weeks ago, there's Canada groups. That's the way I've got most of my Canada sales. I think I have more Canada sales than USA sales right now, which I need to work on USA. But anyway, if y'all do it, I would just be mindful that there are people that try to get you to join into groups in which you'll spend money, and just be aware of that, because that's not why I'm telling y'all about this. I'm telling you about it to get out there and meet people elsewhere. It's kind of outside of, sorry for my kids in the background, y'all, outside of your area. I've got people from California, I've got people from New York that message me and ask me questions about, my businesses. So it's a good tool, and it's not going to happen real fast. So you might be in there for 6 months before you finally get somebody but to me, if you're consistent and you post and you're not just trying to sell stuff and you're being actually genuine, people will start seeing your name and know that, you're not there just to sell. You're there to be, connect with people personally instead of just on a sales tip level. So, but I think that was about all I had. I think I hit everything. Michael, did I get everything?
You did. And one thing I didn't even ask you to share is when you do a Facebook party, you do a group instead of an event, correct?
I do. I do that basically for me, and then also if I'm hosting it for somebody else, I like creating a group, because if they decide they want to join, that could be their VIP group, and they've already got their guests already in there. Another reason I like doing that for me is because if it's me doing like if I'm hosting it like a mystery hostess or something, or I'm doing something, I use it for future references. So I don't, if I make new posts and I put them in there, I can go back to that. Even if I archive it, I can go back to it later with the information, and then I can pull up whoever commented, whoever was interested, or ask them to come to my VIP group. I do utilize those. I end up archiving them, but it's still a good reason to have them. Also, I didn't know this until a few weeks ago. I think Michael Ann did know about that. I didn't know that you can schedule posts in events. You can, you just have to do it on a computer. You can't do it from your phone. And I guess that's why I was having problems, because I do everything from my phone nowadays. I hardly ever get on my laptop unless I'm working. And so it isn't a bad thing to do an event, but the thing is that groups will show up on your Facebook news feeds more than the events will. If they don't hit going on that event, they're not going to see anything.
Right.
If they're even pending an invite for a group, I've got some groups that I'm pending invites in, and I still see content from them. It's called in preview mode, so you can still see it. And if they see something that catches their eye, they might click on there and end up joining,
Right. Yeah, I have personal experience with that. I just realized a couple of weeks ago that it's better to do a group than an event. And that kind of explains why I wasn't getting a lot of participation with my Facebook parties. So that was a good tip for me. Another thing I just wanted to mention, I like to use WordSwag to create content. Megan was telling me about Canva, and I think Canva's free. I think I paid $4 for WordSwag, but there's some good apps out there that we can create content with. Okay, so Betty Hughes, are you on? Would you like to give everybody a welcome? Well, it looked like she had unmuted. So, okay, we will move on to the next thing I'm going to do, which is share my screen real quick, because I want to go through the referral program with you guys. Are y'all seeing my screen now?
No.
Oh, you cannot minimize Zoom when you are recording this meeting. Well, then I will verbally describe to you what I was going to show you. That's something else I learned. You can't screen share, I guess, whenever you're.
Or maybe you can. There should be
there's
a button
pull it
down at the
up.
bottom.
Okay. Do y'all see it now?
Share.
Do y'all see it now? Are y'all seeing it?
When you press share, you've got to click on which screen you want to share, or
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll pop up a box and it'll say
then I have to say share. Okay.
Yes. There you go. Now.
Okay. Now, are y'all seeing my True Aura page?
It's common. It says it
Okay.
started screen sharing. It's
Okay.
black, but
Okay. And my computer takes forever to do anything. That's why I was late getting on. It takes me like 3 minutes to log in and get to where I need to be. Let me
There
know
it
when
is.
you see it. Okay. So you see how I'm logged in as a consultant, and then it says resources. I'm going to go right here to referral program. I want to show you guys how to actually generate a referral code. So if you're not familiar with what this is a program that Truora has just put in place where we can actually send our clients a personalized link that is their link. It does not expire. They can send it to as many people as they'd like. And again, it's taken forever. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to send one to one of my customers here. And she's already in my computer as a customer. Well, just a minute. Now, if they're not in your computer yet and they want a link, you'll need to create an account. But I'm going to go ahead and send a link to Angie. So she's already in. So I type that in, and then I'm just simply going to click create referral link. Now, I won't know the link. I won't have access to it, but it will go to her. So if anyone gets their link, you can go here to resend email. So that's where you go. Again, it's under resources, referral program. Make sure they have an account, put it in, click referral. Now I'm going to go back to where we can see everybody. I think I need to unshare.
Yeah, did you click the unshare? It might take a second since it took a while.
It just says new share is the only thing coming up.
no, you have to go to the top.
That's
Go
right.
to the top of your menu and go.
Oh, here we go.
And
Stop share. I got it.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, but that's a really good, and the way I've been doing it, I have not just been going in and sending links to everybody. I've been having a conversation with them first because we get so much email that it's going to be easy for them to miss that and not even see it. So I'm having a conversation with people first and asking if they would like that link. So what happens is they get the link, they share it with their friends or whomever, and whenever they create an account through that link, the new person, they get an email with a code for 10% off their first order. And they can send that link to as many people as they'd like. Once the new customer that they refer uses their code, then the person that sent the referral link, they get a code for 10% off. And there's no limit on how many codes they can earn. They can only use them one at a time, and they cannot combine it with hostess or doorstep delivery. But if they are a TLC, they can use it on an in-between order and they get 10% off their 15. So this is something really good to promote to our TLCs as well. Okay, Miss Betty Steward, I think we are ready for you. We're going to do a little Q&A.
Okay.
If I drank coffee, I'd be having coffee with you, but I'm not a coffee
Well,
drinker.
you know, I thought if I'm going to be on Facebook, all these little women that pop on and say, hey, you know, they have to have their coffee and they have to say, oh, hey there, Gidget, how are you today? So here we go.
Phillip has coffee too.
Okay, I would like to ask you, because again, we wanted this to be relevant. What would you say to clients if we reach out to them? And of course, the only way we can party right now is on Facebook. But if you were to reach out to a client and they were reluctant to host a party right now, just, you know, because of the world situation, what would you say to that client?
Well, I thought about it, Michael Ann, about us doing these questions and answers. And I'm glad that you're asking me the questions. And I do think sometimes I'm better just on my feet to answer something than to try to do something programmed. But in thinking about what you asked me about, you know, words to say, and I got to thinking about, you know, rolling oh, my husband just sneezed. I rolling the time back to when I used to really be very, very important that I got yeses when I asked for something. So I can remember there's 3 steps, and I'm gonna let everybody just write these 3 steps down real quick, and then you think about them, and then you'll be better prepared to come up with words to say on anything. And number one is, prepare your mind before you get involved with asking anybody anything. Decide, what if she says this, or what if she says that, or what if she says that? What am I going to say? So kind of be prepared already with how you're going to handle whatever the scenario or circumstance is. Does that make sense? So prepare your mind. And go ahead and prepare your calendar. I like the fact that Megan said program what you're going to do tomorrow on your posting ahead of time. If you go ahead and prepare your calendar and have your calendar ready for whatever it is that your objective is, then you're going to have a better chance to get yeses and a positive result. And then, think about your words. And that's pretty much what you're asking me. Is Michael Ann has told me that she thinks that I'm good with words and coming up with answers. So the question she has just asked is, what to say to a client who's reluctant to hold a Facebook party right now. And, maybe she said, oh, this is not the time because everybody's broke. Nobody has any money. We're all out of a job right now, and we're all in the house, and so my thing is, when I say prepare your mind, is flip your own switch about how you view that excuse that she has just given you. She gave you an excuse, and that's really where her mind is. But when she's deciding that she's going to decide that you don't want to do this because you don't have any money right now, or maybe you're broke or you're depressed, then she's denying you the opportunity. This is part of preparing your mind, okay? She's denying that person the opportunity to have a response of her own. So that's the programming of the mindset that you need to have to be able to come back to her to say, well, what you said, is probably true. But don't you think that now of all times, people need to have some happy spots in their day? And what we're going to do is set up a time where everybody can have an opportunity to participate in something that'll be fun, be informative, and just along those lines. She hasn't thought about that avenue, so therefore she's going to get on board with that. Do you understand what I'm saying, or am I answering what you want me to answer on that question? I'm thinking, don't always accept the excuse that you get from anybody on any topic. Not at home with your husband, not in any way. Think about, where's she coming from? She's coming from, that's where she is. What she's deciding is that's where everybody else is too, and that's not true. So you need to help her flip her own switch to say, that may be true, but don't you think nobody wants to stay depressed about that? So let's come up with something together, you and I, that would be something that you think would be fun and be a happy spot for all the people that our friends and family and people that we love at this time.
All right. That's really good. And what about, and it's probably along the same lines. I know sometimes as consultants, we tend to just put our case in the closet, like for example, over holidays or, whatever. But what's the danger in if a consultant's mind tends to think, well, I'm just going to wait till all this is over before I really work my True Aura business? What would be the danger in doing that?
Well, I'm thinking when you said that really happened to me when
I know that's
great. We had a great sales going, and so we had wonderful. I told everybody back in November, let's get our business all done by the 15th so we can enjoy our family and Christmas. So I told them along about December the 15th, just put your you've done great. Let's just put our cases in the closet now and enjoy our family for Christmas. Well, along about mid-January, things were just really, really not good. And I was talking to my husband about it. He said, I remember you told them to put their cases in the closet. Maybe they hadn't got the case. You didn't tell them to get the case out of the closet. So that's true. If we have consultants right now that are reluctant to work because they're thinking like that client did, you know, people, this is not the time to approach people about a party, or this is not the time, you know, people are depressed right now, whatever. There are things that we can do to be working our business right now. And we, you know, we're talking about the hour of power. I know y'all know what the hour of power is, and we've done a lot of work with the hour of power. Well, because we're all trapped in our houses right now, if you want to call it that, or you can call it I'm trapped in my house, or you can say I'm on a retreat. See, that's flipping the switch in your mind or how you're thinking about it. So we're on a retreat right now, and we can remember that scripture that the Lord tells us to be still. You know, whenever I always think that scripture says be still, that means stop, think. What is your plan? You know, usually this is a good planning time. So we have the time right now to do several hours of power. We don't have to do just one a week. An hour of power is where you set aside some time in each little segment of an hour to work different parts of your business, where it's working on making lists of people that you're going to contact when, you know, our specialist occasion selling is here now. And you're thinking, how are we going to do that? Well, we can come up with a plan. What is a good plan? Brainstorm within yourself a plan that might work while you're sitting at home and everybody else is sitting at home. What might work? Well, we might make a list of everybody that we need to appreciate. We might make a list of every customer or client we have to just write them a little note. I saw on TV the other day where people right now, they don't want to get phone calls every day from you. But if you've been texting everybody and doing everything by computer, you know, the best thing to do every once in a while is pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, I'm calling to check on you and your family. How you doing there in this time? You don't necessarily have to do a sales talk of any kind of thing at all. But I was thinking, you know, myself, you know what would be a really good thing for us to do? Call everybody that we know that's ever been a part of our business or our previous business or this business, and say, you know, I've been thinking about, we need to do some kind of event, and we can do it on Facebook. Thank goodness for Facebook now in this time. We could just have a who I want to appreciate page, like you're saying, make a little group. Who do we need to appreciate? And let everybody say whoever they would like to appreciate right now, whether it's policemen, nurses, teachers, and just get all those people. And why do we want to appreciate? What can we do for them right now? What would be something good to do that we could do? We could fix up a little package and take by the police station for, you know, that is something that we could get all of our Facebook people to participate in to do. So don't think that because you're home and you can't do anything. This is time for brainstorming. This is time to do a brainstorm with your own self. What can I do? 1, 2, 3. And every what can I do 1, 2, 3 has an action plan that will follow it. So that's just my thing. We've done enough cleaning out our closets and sorting out our clothes and cleaning down the cobwebs. It's time to pull our case out of the closet and do a little bit of saying, okay, what am I going to do about this?
All right. Do you guys have any questions for Miss Betty?
Okay.
All right.
Well, Marlene, could I say one more thing to just kind of wrap
please.
it up? Make sure that you know that it's your job. It's our job to show up in our business if we want something to happen and work in it. We got to show up. And we've got to be interested in people, or we never build relationships to have a business at all. And we have to stay engaged. That means, you know, like Megan was saying, you know, make it relevant. Whatever it is now, you know, what's the best recipe you've got, or, you know, be aware when their children succeed at something, and and just be aware of your people in other ways other than just what can I sell you today, and just give them excellent service. And that's it. Always assume the sale and assume she's going to say yes, and keep your own brain and mind, your positive switch flipped, so you can handle the situation with whatever response you need to have for the situation.
And two, also, sometimes we do get those people that are kind of like a wet blanket. Don't let that stop you if you have to go back, like Miss Betty said, and get your mindset done. And like Phillip's mentioned about the stewardess in the plane, you don't just stop because one person says no. I know I had a consultant one night that she got on the phone, this was years ago. She started making calls and she got like 2 parties booked. And I said, you know what, this is the best time to stay on the phone and keep booking because you're excited and that's going to come across. And by the end of the night, she had booked 10 parties. But the opposite can also happen. We can be in a great mood and we can get a negative response from someone, but you just have to shake that off and move on, and don't let what that person says stop you from reaching out to someone else. And that can be hard. That can be something hard to overcome. But anyway, that's, I think, really good advice that Miss Betty gave us. So
yeah, just always assume that you don't have the right to decide what she is going to respond to on this situation. You don't have the right. So keep on asking, and it'll happen.
right. That's what I always say. It's not my job to make them buy or book or recruit. It's just my job to share it. And of course, their decision's totally up to them. Okay, I think we're going to turn it over to you, Phillip. And I know when we set this up, we didn't know we were going to be getting so many wonderful webinars from True Aura. So we're really thankful for that. And do you need to share your screen or no?
No, not at all. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to jump on with y'all this morning. It's a pleasure, and I love connecting, even if this is face to face through the virtual world. Come on, buddy. Sorry, it's Saturday morning is our snuggle time, so he's a little confused. But this is Knox. He's awesome. I shared him on the video yesterday or a couple days ago. My little 7-year-old Westie Knox. Lots of fun. He doesn't usually snuggle except for Saturday mornings. And somehow he knows Saturdays. But hey, buddy. Okay, get down. You're going to distract everybody. So what I really want to share today, and thank you so much, Megan and everyone else for sharing. One commonality that I've seen throughout this is, and what people are sharing is, make people feel special. Make people feel special. Maya Angelou, who I would say is one of the best people in the history of the world. What? Maya Angelou? No, she was an author. She was a poet. She was all of this. She would have been the best salesperson in the history of the world. Why? Because she could care less about product. She doesn't care about product. She doesn't want to sell anything. She wants to grow people. She wants to make somebody feel special. And that is about a direct communication with someone. The old way of doing a direct sales business is reach out to the masses, and it's a numbers game. I hate to tell you, it's no longer a numbers game. It's not. You have to make someone feel special. Maya Angelou, one of her best quotes that I like is, people will forget what you say, will forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And whenever you think through that, it truly is very much like what Betty was saying, it's the direct communication. It's reaching out, and maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's it's more than a text message. It's a video call, especially in these crazy times, in this new world that we live in. It's making the extra effort to make someone feel special. And this is for whenever you're talking to somebody, whether it's for to become a customer or to become a consultant. You want to reach out to them and make them feel special. Hopefully you've been able to go back and watch some of the workshops that I've done. The one that I did on Thursday, that is kind of a 30,000 foot view of who we are and why you would want to recruit in. And I want you to also look at these workshops and go back and watch them based off of customers and consultants. Because you recruit a consultant the same way you recruit a customer, you recruit a customer the same way you recruit a consultant, making someone feel special. And that is whether you're making a list and reaching out to somebody very intentionally, you're identifying a quality or characteristic within someone that you admire. And it's a genuine compliment that you break down the walls of communication and say, hey, I noticed this about you. And thank you for sharing the way you did, or thank you for being the kind of person you are. Because truly a compliment can last for a long, long time with someone. This is the direct sales business. I want to remind everybody why it started. It started almost a century ago, back in the late 30s, early 40s. It started almost a century ago, and it was about connecting with people. It had nothing to do with product. The product was secondary. The home party would last about an hour and a half or so, and then the product demonstration would last 10 minutes. It was almost like an obligatory, hey, we better show some products so that we can go home and with something. It was about connecting with people and giving somebody an opportunity to connect with others. It's a social business and a relational business. I want you to think of every time you're reaching out to someone, whether it's within your network or whether it's on social media, on the phone, or whatever it might be, every third time you reach out to someone, it should be about your business. Every third time you reach out to somebody, it should be about your business. Same thing on your social media posts. If you are big into posting on social media, every third post should be about your business, not 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3. You don't want to spam people. An old way of doing business, and the way that people looked at this business 20 and 30 years ago, was it's a numbers game. You just got to reach out to, if you reach out to 1,000 people, you're going to get this kind of response, and you just got to reach out to more people. It is such an antiquated old way of looking at this business. It is the world has changed, and so has this business. You want to be intentional about how you reach out. If you reach out to 1,000 people at once, or let's say just 100 people at once, your return rate is going to be very much like a mailer or a mass email. You're going to have about a 2% rate of return. 2% rate of return if you're doing a post to everyone. And so what you want to do is make sure that you're intentionally reaching out to people, and that rate of return is going to be about 30%. Yes, it takes longer to reach out to all the people, but your rate of return and the amount of response you're going to get is much higher. And so, Knox, please stop. And so whenever you look at how do you reach out to someone, first and foremost, you want to create intrigue within them. You want to first compliment, then create intrigue of what you're doing. And this is somebody that maybe knows what you do, but you need to remind them. And what Megan said earlier is you have to gain permission to share outside of a relationship. If I'm asking you how you're doing and about life, I do not have to gain permission to ask those type questions. But if I want to tell you certain things about business and all that, I need to gain permission first. I don't care if it's a parent, a family member, or whatever it might be. If somebody's not asking, then you don't have permission to share. So you have to navigate the conversation through your own comments and questions to gain permission to get them to say, hey, how is work? What are you up to now? Are you still doing that face stuff, that face skincare routine and all that? Like, yeah, no, I am. I love what I get to do. And then whenever somebody asks you what you do, have a crafted message that talks first about the why you do what you do. This is the golden circle, Simon Sinek's golden circle, that starts with the why, then talks about how, and then talks about what, because that really gets into the heart of why you do what you do. And the why, why I do this industry, and I feel like I've talked to enough people at True Aura and other companies. The why we get to do what we do in this industry is that we get to impact other people's lives. And so when somebody says, what do you do? I get to impact women's lives all around the world to help them add value, not only to their family, to their home, but most importantly to themselves. That they can see a new version of themselves where they're adding value and ultimately being proud of what they get to do every day and make an impact in other people's lives. That's what I get to do every day. It doesn't mention True Aura. It doesn't mention anything about skincare. It doesn't mention anything about product, because what people truly want to do and what they want to see and what they want to be a part of and what they want to support as a customer is someone that is impacting other people's lives. How do I know this? Because I've seen products, brands, and companies do this through the years. There's a wonderful company called Tom's Shoes. Tom's Shoes, and some of you might have seen them. They started about 20 years ago, and I happened to be in the store, the very first store that they opened out in California when I lived out there 20 years ago. And it was, and they put the shoe out there. It was one of the ugliest shoes I've ever seen. It was literally, it was ridiculous. It was this little flimsy shoe. And now it's kind of a cool shoe. It's grown on me through the years, and it's a cool shoe. It's very comfortable, but it's an Argentinian shoe. That this guy went on a mission trip down to Argentina, and he noticed that a ton of kids did not have shoes, that over 60% of the population didn't have shoes. And so what he did, he came back and he decided to start a company that and he was going to make the Argentinian shoe. And what he was going to do is basically for every shoe that was sold, he was going to give one away. For every shoe that was sold, he was going to give one away. Within a year, this company had exploded. Why? Not because the shoes were cool. Was because the company was making an impact and people wanted to be a part of it. Are you sharing your True Aura business about the impact you're making in other people's lives, the people on your team, the way that it's impacting your life, that it's adding value to yourself, and that also that you're able to have a home-based business in a time of struggle, in a time of crisis, and that you're able to thrive? As Rick has shared this last week, how cool is it that we work in a business that has grown, that grew at over 20% in the month of March? Year over year, in the month of March, we grew over 20%. I've been working with a wonderful person, and a lot of you know her, Valerie, and over the last 3 weeks, and she adopted some of these things that I'm talking about on the workshops, and her business grew at 65% in a time of struggle. And if you watch my one of the first workshop talking about diamonds, that diamonds truly are just a small piece of charcoal that handles stress very well. And in that case, Valerie, who has grown 65% in the month of March, she was a small piece of charcoal that it might have seemed insignificant, but all of a sudden she turned a charcoal into a diamond because of the stresses. She handled it well and said, I'm going to lean into this time of struggle, reach out to people intentionally, not in a mass way, and really make people feel special. Because if you can pour into people, they'll grow your business. Work on growing people, and they will grow your business because they want to support you. I'll share one more thing, and then I'll take some questions. If you were starting a restaurant right now, and you would, let's say it's not during a pandemic, but you're starting a restaurant, who would you ask to come to the soft opening? Who would you ask to come to the soft opening? You would ask your family and friends. Why would you ask your family and friends to come to the soft opening? Well, first of all, you would want to learn the business. You would want to learn what's good, what's bad. You can make mistakes on them, and they're still going to come back and support you because they love and care for you. Now, what is going to keep your restaurant open? Your friends and family? No, they're the ones that are going to come and get a discount or eat for free or drink all your booze for free. And so whenever you look at that, your friends and family don't keep your business open, or your Frankie list that's really popular in the direct sales industry. They don't keep your business open. It's your extended network that keeps it open. It's the network's network. So the faster you can get through the Frankie list, the faster that you can get through your friends and family in your business and get to that second level, that is what's going to determine the success of your business. Because ultimately, that's how you grow. And how do you get there? It's through consistent behaviors. And I think Megan or someone mentioned this earlier, and it was about consistency of behavior and being committed to a regimen. Because whenever you look at that, it's much like working out. If somebody decides that they're going to start working out to get in shape, they want to lose 20 pounds or more or less, or maybe they just want to reposition. Like what I'm in the more of the repositioning right now than I'm actually in the losing. And so I'm trying to reposition. But let's say if I start working, if somebody starts working out and they go look in the mirror after working out the first day, they look in the mirror and go, I don't see a difference. And they don't work out again. That would seem somewhat silly. They believe in the behavior. They know if they continue the behavior, the results will come. So they're willing to do the behavior without seeing the results. Do you believe in the behaviors that you're doing on a daily basis, the reach outs that you're doing on a daily basis, in so much that you will continue doing them without seeing results? If you don't, if you're second guessing your behaviors, that's a good thing. Don't be fearful of that. Make sure you believe in whatever behaviors you're doing, that you know that that success is the lagging measure of consistent behavior. Success, so let's put it into working out. Success, so the body that you want, the health that you want, success is a lagging measure. So it will come, is a lagging measure of consistent behaviors, the daily regimen of eating well and working out. Success is a lagging measure of consistent behaviors. In your True Aura business, are you reaching out to people on a daily basis? And what I would say is look at it as really a 5 customers a day that you're reaching out to, whether it's paying a compliment, whether it's to fill an order, whatever it might be, and at least 2 people whenever it comes to, hey, people like you are really good at what I do. And that's a very simple comment. And I shared that in my workshop yesterday and the day before. It's I've done this all over the world, regardless of country and culture. As I just moved back from Australia, running a large team down there for Norwex. And that one line, regardless of culture or country or language, it pours into people and it makes somebody feel special. People like you are really good at what I do. Make somebody feel special. All of a sudden they go, wow, you noticed something in me that would be beneficial somewhere else. And then the one thing that they cannot help respond with is, what do you do? So if you can reach out to 2 people a day and say simply that, I'm going to pay a compliment. Once you're in a dialogue, you're able to say, the reason I noticed that about you is people like you are really good at what I do. That ultimately helps you build your business through the recruiting arm. And if you want to sell more, so some of you are on this call going, how do I sell more? What I would tell you to do is go recruit. Add somebody to your team. If you want to sell more, add somebody to your team. Wait, time out. That's about team building, not selling. If you have to go teach somebody this business, if you need to go teach somebody how to do what you do, you will become more efficient. You will actually, much like I said on the call, much like gold, gold is refined by fire, and it brings impurities to the surface. And so it becomes liquid form, and those impurities come to the surface so the blacksmith can scrape the impurities away, and the gold becomes stronger and more beautiful and shines even brighter. So if you want to become better at your business, go recruit somebody and teach them about the business, because what you'll start to notice in yourself, impurities and inefficiencies will come to the surface, and you go, why do I do it that way? I think there's a better way to do it. Or you're talking to somebody, and then ultimately whether that person ends up being successful in this business or not means absolutely nothing, because there's already a silver lining. They made you better. So if you want to sell more, go recruit somebody. They will make you better because you have to teach them how to do this business well. So that's just some ramblings of somebody who truly loves people, loves this business, loves this industry, because we get to pour into people, we get to grow people, and we get to learn from each other. Product is important, but it is not the king or queen. You are the messenger. You carry forth the message of True Aura and who we are. And you, in this time, you hold a secret that people need. They need to feel important. They need to feel like they're making an impact in other people's lives. And some people really need the extra income in their pocketbook right now. Make sure you're sharing that way. One of you shared about that, of saying, hey, we're not in the conversion business. This is how I say it. We're not in the conversion business. We're in the communication business. All we do is communicate what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. We start with the why, and then we talk about how we do what we do, and then what we do. We're in the communication business, not the conversion business. We don't convert them to a client, and we don't convert them to a consultant. That is their decision. It's how well we communicate it to them helps determine that. And so, are you communicating in a consistent way that can help drive towards an impact in other people's lives? That's what I truly love doing, and helping people take their next step. If you'd like to reach out and work with me a little bit more one-on-one or small groups, or even have a follow-up of more Q&A, I'd love to do that. It's really a passion of mine and what we get to do. So I'll open it up to questions now. If you have any needs for clarification or whatever it might be, I just appreciate the time this morning. Not everybody at once, though. And if you're scared to ask, you can type it into the chat.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How do I word this? Hold on, I'm trying to think of my words, Miss Betty. Hold on. Let's just say that you're someone who has done well before, and you took a hiatus, so you're starting over. So basically, I heard you say, you don't really want to use your frank list. Your best way is to get up to that next level, but you're going to have to start with your family and friends. But what would you suggest to somebody who is a little out, who's just a little rusty, I guess? Like, just
I think
go
you're talking
for
about
it.
me.
You think I'm talking about?
Sounds like you made a question about Miss Betty.
Well, I'm glad I'm in good company, Betty. I'm glad I'm in good company.
Marcella, I think I understand kind of where you're going here and where you're at. First and foremost, you are not starting over. You're not starting from a blank slate. You still have a solid foundation. It's very much like if you watch the show Bravo or those home makeover shows. I'm a person of faith and understanding that a foundation is the most important part of a house. The foundation is the most important part of the house. And even though you might be rusty, and even though that house might be dilapidated, what is still usually very strong and usable is the foundation. And even though you might have to knock down all the walls, tear down the roof, and start from feeling like you're starting from scratch, the most important part of the home is the foundation of building off of a strong, solid foundation. So you're not starting from scratch. Yes, you might be rusty, but what it taught, all you need to do is understand, I already have a solid place to jump off of. And yes, you do want to still use your Frankie list. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Frankie list isn't important. The Frankie list is always there for you. But what you need to understand is the first time, if you're just starting your business or you're restarting your business, what you're going to ask your Frankie list for is a favor. Hey, I'm relaunching my business and I need your help. What I've noticed in this business is that people lead with product first, and the salesperson or the direct seller has it exactly flipped from the customer. So hang with me here, and I hope you can track with me. The customer looks at it as, I'm doing you a favor and I'm going to help you. You're looking at it as they think the product is awesome and they're going to jump on board and they're going to be here and they're going to be a customer for the next 20 years. The customer is only going, I'm only going to buy this once because I want to help her out. That's the first thing, because they might not care about the product. They might not care about the business. And most people, whenever they're starting out, they've never heard of True Aura, but who they have heard of is you. And they care about you. But you think, oh, well, my product is so awesome because you know all about it. You've tried it. You think it's amazing. And you think that they're making a decision based off of the product, when truly they're making a decision based off of you and the relationship. But so we need to understand human psychology of that first point of purchase, whether you're starting off or you're relaunching. That first point of purchase and the first contact, you need to ask for the favor, and don't be fearful of it. You need to be able to say, hey, I'm relaunching my business. Utilize vulnerability. And if you struggle with vulnerability and transparency, those tough words out there, vulnerability, really difficult. Transparency. If you struggle with that, there's a wonderful YouTube by Brene Brown, B-R-E-N-E, Brene Brown on YouTube, and it's a TED Talk. And it's probably about 18, 20 minutes. And she has multiple books that talk about vulnerability. And what I would say is, when you're relaunching your business or somebody who's launching it, it's about asking for help. People want to help each other. It's innate in every one of us. We want to help and help make an impact in people's lives, but many times we don't know how. And so as you're relaunching your business, look at your Frankie list, or look at that list that I talked about yesterday on your prospecting list, and saying, I'm going to reach out to these people and say, hey, I need your help. I'm relaunching my business, and would you mind supporting me? But what we do as salespeople is we think the product leads and that they made a decision on that, and their first purchase, we're asking them to believe in a product that they don't know about yet, and then purchase 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All the future purchases, we're calling them up and going, hey, could you do me a favor? Could you do me a favor? Could you do me a favor? So we're flipping the switch. We're saying, hey, here's 10 I'm asking for 10 favors when all you really needed to do was ask for the one in the beginning. And then you believe in the product so much, going, hey, if I can just get it in their hands, they will become a lifelong customer. But ultimately what we do is we think the product is king when truly the relationship, you are king. Believe in yourself more than the product, because you are special. You have something that is important, and that is the relationships in your lives. It is that Frankie list, but that's how you relearn your business. You relearn your business, and you start to tailor your message. You start to refine your message and how you're going to reach out to people, on people that you can trust, that you can be vulnerable with, and you can refine your message with that Frankie list, so that when you start to reach out to the secondary and tertiary people, that all of a sudden you have a message that's crafted. Marcella, does that make sense? Are you tracking with me?
Yeah. Yeah,
Does that help?
it does. Yes.
All right, very good. I think I took about 6 pages of notes.
Wonderful.
And thankfully I've got this recorded, so I'll be able to share it with the rest of the team that wasn't able to get on. And I just appreciate all of you guys for getting up and being on here on a Saturday morning. And thanks, Phillip, for his time. Hopefully we'll get to meet everybody in person in July. So if you have not registered,
I can't wait.
Yeah, if you're not registered for Empower, I did have one of my consultants over on the East Coast just bought a ticket for like $115. So this is the time to buy a plane ticket if you're going to fly, if you haven't bought those already. So we're really looking forward to that. All right.
It truly is. Like if you have for Empower, go ahead and get that ticket. If the airlines, because I had three flights that ended up canceling, and the airlines refunded everything. I just had to be patient and wait for them to cancel the flight. But it truly is right now is a wonderful time to go ahead and jump on those tickets.
Yeah, we have
and there's really, really cheap flights to Italy and China right now.
I'm sure. My brother works for Hawaiian Airlines, and they're only flying one plane in and one plane out per day right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, we appreciate everybody, and just, let's use this time wisely. I don't want us to look back and when we get busy in a few months and think, oh, I should have done this while I had that time off. So let's use our time wisely and go forth and make people feel special. Thank you, guys.
Bye, y'all.